People, all right, let's not waste any time. Let's do this. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. Let's start with this one. Cunningham. Lubin's almost unrecognizable face looked worse than it was in Fundura fight. I don't know, man. That looked bad. I mean, that was gruesome. It really was. I think Cunningham stopped that fight as well, which might have saved Lubin's career. Look, it was a long time ago. What was it, 14, 15 months? So mentally, he's healed. Physically, he should be healed as well. But sometimes you don't survive or come back from those beatings. You don't. And it was a beating. Look, I like Lubin. I think Lubin is a top 154-pound fighter. I do think, though, I did read that his fight coming up against Luis Arias is at 157 pounds. I don't know if he's trying to make a play for 160. But if he were to come through that, I still think he can be a factor at 154 pounds, especially if we do get to see the Jermell Charlo versus Tim Tszyu fight. And say Tim Tszyu wins that fight, I wouldn't mind seeing Tim Tszyu versus Lubin, providing that Lubin looks good in his fight coming up. But yeah, back to it. That was gruesome. Honestly, it was a beating. And I mean, his face, I mean, hopefully what Cunningham's saying is correct, that it wasn't as bad as it looked, because it looked very, very bad. I think I read somewhere that he suffered a fracture. I don't know where, but he suffered a fracture. But if he's got away with just a fracture, he's good, because it looked a lot worse than that. Eddie Hearn, the plan for Joshua is still August 12th, but we have to nail down an opponent this week. Yeah, like I said, that AJ wants to fight in August. He's desperate to have a fight in August before he moves on to whoever it may be, hopefully Deontay Wilder at the end of the year. But, I mean, we haven't got long to find an opponent. Today is June 22nd. I mean, if you're going to find anyone, you need to give that opponent surely 6-7 weeks, and that's now. So, yeah, we'll see. I think Eddie Hearn has shut down the Jarrell Miller talk, so it's not going to be Jarrell Miller. I do wonder who it can be. I know some people reached out to me and said, what about F.A. Jagba? If he's fighting Wilder, kind of similar in terms of length and height. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, look, there are a number of opponents, a bit like Tyson Fury and me sort of saying Tyson Fury can fight a lot of people. So can AJ. But AJ is a bit different. Tyson Fury is like that high. AJ isn't. So AJ's got to be careful as to who he picks. So, look, we'll see. But they have to nail down an opponent very, very soon. WBC president says no new mandatory for Tyson Fury. Wilder Ruiz eliminator still in play. Why? I don't understand. Why no new mandatory? Is this a special ruling for Tyson Fury? Don't get it. Don't understand it. How does that make any sense? Like, he's had his voluntary against. Is he trying to open the door for Ngannou or bloody John Jones? Is that what he's trying to do here? Because that's what it kind of seems like. He's had his voluntary, that gimme against Derek Chisora. He's mandatory, please. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know. As for the Wilder Ruiz eliminator still in play, Deontay Wilder's not fighting Andy Ruiz. I would want to see it happen, but I just don't see that there is enough money in that fight to make it. Unless that fight goes to the Middle East and the Saudis pay over the odds, over the price for it, I just don't see. Both of these guys want good money, and both of their recent pay-per-views were duds. They weren't. Hellenius was awful, and I think Luis Ortiz did really bad numbers against Ruiz as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do there. Canelo versus Jermall Charlo, front runner for Alvarez's September fight, says Eddie Hearn. Yeah, seems as though that is the case now. It will do good numbers. It will do good numbers. Both of those fighters have different fan bases, different demographic of people support both fighters. It will do great numbers. Jermall will sell it well. Jermell will be right there selling it with him as well. It'd be interesting to see where this fight takes place. I can't see Al Heyman letting Jermall Charlo fight on DAZN. I don't see it. We've seen Canelo go over before when he fought Caleb Plant. I wonder if he does that again, which would be a bit of a blow for DAZN, because that would do good numbers. That would do a lot better than numbers than Canelo John Ryder. I don't know what Jermall Charlo has to offer. Look, clearly a good fighter. Let me not speak too badly on him, but again, he's not fought for 2 years. He'll be moving up in weight, although he's probably naturally bigger than Canelo. Yeah, not sure. But look, a lot of people for a few years have been saying Canelo's been dodging people like Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade. Now he's fighting him. He's giving Jermall Charlo a chance. I guess those same people can't say, oh, but yeah, Canelo's only picking him because he's not fought for 2 years. Well, he's giving your boy a chance. So let's see what Jermall Charlo can do. Chantel Cameron, Katie Taylor rematch eyed for November in Dublin. Okay. It'd be interesting to see what weight this fight's at. Does Katie Taylor go back down to 135 pounds to defend her belts down there, or does she try and go 140 again, Chantel? I mean, look, Chantel can make 135, but if you're Katie, try and get every advantage you can get. If you feel that she might make 135 but she'll struggle, get her down to 135 if you can. I will favour Chantel in this one heavily. I think Chantel just too fresh. Honestly, just too fresh. And at this stage of Katie Taylor's career, maybe just a bit too good for Katie as well. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one for Katie. But if you're Chantel, I mean, you go again. You happily go again. Again, especially if it's for Katie's belts at 135. Chantel would want to be a two-weight world champion as well. If Chantel were to beat Katie at 135, I mean, Chantel jumps right up there in the female pound-for-pound rankings, and then it opens a door for her for really big fights as well. So good luck to her. I read something, it's here now actually, Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez, WBA final eliminator, August 19th. Now there's been some that are saying this is happening, this isn't happening. I think I saw something that Boxing News put out saying that maybe it isn't true about this particular fight on this particular date. I think Boxer released a statement saying it is true. Joshua Buatsi is number 1 ranked at the WBA. So in the WBA, Dan Azeez is number 2, which surprised me. I didn't know he was number 2. I didn't know he was that high up. I like the fight and I don't like the fight. I'll tell you why I like it first. I think it's a fantastic fight for Dan Azeez. Dan Azeez has done it the hard way, the proper way. I think English... In fact, I could be wrong, but I think Southern Area champion. Definitely English, British, Commonwealth, and we saw recently going away and winning the European scrap. That is solid. That's doing it the proper, old school, traditional route. And he's always wanted to get in the mix and fight some of the top dogs over here, whether it be Anthony Yard, whether it be Callum Johnson before he retired, Callum Smith. Like, he's called out a lot of the guys, Craig Richards, and he's not got the opportunity. He gets it now. Now he gets it. This is what he's been screaming for. And we all love a domestic dust-up. We all do. And I think this will do well for Boxer. I think it will do well. I think that they'll bring out the best in each other. So I think for that reason, it's great. I did hear some nonsense about this fight potentially being in Brighton. I mean, I can't think of the last big fight that's been in Brighton, or any fight for that matter. That makes absolutely no sense. Someone did say, well, it makes sense if Chris Eubank Jr. is fighting Liam Smith in Brighton and this is a co-main event. Joshua Buatsi versus Dan Azeez would never be a co-main. That's a main event fight. It really is. I mean, if they were to do that, I mean, congratulations. They've pulled off something special. If you were to get Liam Smith, Eubank Jr. and then co-main Buatsi, Dan Azeez, that's a solid card. And that's 100% a pay-per-view card as well. So yeah, I don't like the idea of it going to Brighton, but the idea of these two fighting each other, I don't mind at all. For Buatsi, I don't know. I don't know if this is somewhat of a... And this is not discrediting Dan Azeez, by the way, because I think Dan Azeez will cause him problems, but I don't know if this is a bit of a step back. Although, I did assume this was going to happen. As soon as Buatsi signed with Boxer and Sky, you only have to look at their roster of 175-pound fighters, and okay, obviously he's going to fight Dan Azeez then. So I knew this was going to happen. I always say this about Buatsi, and some people think of it as a dig. It's not. I'm a big Buatsi fan. But I did expect Buatsi to have had a world title fight by now, a world title shot. Win or lose, not a problem. I mean, Yard's stock's not gone down, has it, in 2 world title defeats? I don't think people look at Yard any lesser than they did before those fights. So I would have expected Buatsi at this stage to have had a world title fight. We all know about the Bivol one, which for whatever reason didn't happen. You know, we're not privy to those conversations, so let's not make things up. But I did expect him to move on. Buatsi might argue that, and I think Virgil Hunter, his trainer, was like, maybe Buatsi isn't ready, or I'm trying to paraphrase what he said. I remember he done a sit down with, I can't remember who he did it with. But he did a sit down. I think they asked him about Buatsi versus Bivol, and he's like, not yet. So this might be, you know, a couple more fight camps that he wants before Bivol. Remember, the winner of this is will be mandatory to fight Dmitry Bivol. So maybe Boazy looks at it like that. Maybe Boazy looks at it, let me take on someone tough, someone that's, you know, riding the crest of a wave right now. If I beat him, then I know I'm ready to go. Maybe. I'm not sure. But look, I like the fight. I'm happy for Dan Azeez if he gets the opportunity. I love both guys, so it's going to be one of those ones where it's difficult for me to pick a winner because I love both, but I'd have to favour Buatsi to get it done. But it would not shock me if Dan Azeez gets the W here. Let's hope it happens August 19th. Again, that's not too far away. It's less than 2 months away. But again, yeah, conflicting views or stories as to whether this fight is actually really happening. I hope it does. It's a good domestic fight. In fact, it's domestic because it's two Brits, but it's above domestic level. This is a world level light heavyweight fight. Chris Billam-Smith versus Masterneck in play for October. What does this mean for Okoli? What are we doing here? This is strange. I remember it was supposed to be Jay Opataya, the current IBF Cruiserweight champion, versus Masterneck. I don't know what the reason was for that not going on, but then it's been moved to Jay Opataya potentially versus Richard Riakporhe. And now we're hearing Chris Billam-Smith versus Masterneck. Does this mean that Lawrence Okoli's decided not to take the rematch? Which would be strange. But yeah, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting to see. It's a good fight. Chris Billam-Smith should and I think will come through that one. It'll be interesting to see how big a fight this is. Can this go back to... Obviously, it can't go back to Bournemouth that time of the season, weather permitting as well. So it'll be an arena. It'd be interesting to see how big of a draw now Chris Billam-Smith is. Like if Chris Billam-Smith can do a small arena, will be interesting to see. Trying to think of the arenas in and around London. O2's too big. So you're looking at either Over Arena, so Wembley Arena, or the Copper Box, really, or Alexandra Palace. Could he fill any of those three? Maybe, if he gets a good undercard. Who else? Charles Martin. I have to beat Jared Anderson to accomplish my goal. Don't know what that goal is because there's no titles in the line, but okay. What? Look at this. Look at this. See, you just don't know what. You don't know what's going on, do you? David Benavidez. There's no fight with Morrell lined up. We want to fight Jaime Munguia. Why would you want to fight? Maybe Munguia offers more money. But I'm telling you now, people might say no to this, but believe me when I say the answer is yes. Munguia isn't as risky as Morrell. Morrell's better than Munguia. He really is. Munguia didn't look great against Derevyanchenko. I don't know what... that's interesting. Is that a duck? Is that a duck from Benavidez? In any way, shape or form? I don't know. You guys can answer it. But yeah, that surprises me. Ryan Garcia versus Regis Prograis. This is Eddie Hearn talking. We can walk straight into that fight next. F. Oscar. Well, look, Ryan Garcia's clearly got something going on with Oscar De La Hoya. What is it? What's up with Oscar and his fighters? I mean, Canelo was the big one. You can't lose that. You can't lose a Canelo, and you certainly can't lose a Ryan Garcia now as well. You look at Golden Boy Stable, and they've still got good fighters, but nothing really in terms of a needle mover like Ryan Garcia. I mean, Munguia's there, yes. Virgil Ortiz there, good fighters, but not. They don't put bums on seat like Ryan Garcia does. Wonder what's going on there. Wonder if that will be able to sort itself out, or is it too late? All right, before we wrap, let's have a quick look at Michael Benson's Twitter page and see if there is anything else to report on. 2 secs. Look at this. Amir Abdullah of Saudi Arabia's Skill Challenge Entertainment has denied that Deontay Wilder and Devin Haney have signed with them or are on the verge of doing so. You just don't know what to believe anymore, do you? Anything else? Eddie Hearn has declared that he's trying to make Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington in September and is in talks with Nottingham Forest to stage it at the City Ground in front of 25 to 30,000 fans. Whatever the capacity is for the City Ground, bear in mind you get floor seats as well, so that capacity will increase by a few thousand. Let's have a look. I think it's about 30,445. So whatever it is, they will sell out easily. That'll be a 32, 33,000 sellout, which is what we want. It'll be a good fight as well between those two. Again, I was saying this to someone, considering how much of a late bloomer Lee Wood is at sort of world level. If he were to like beat Josh Warrington, his CV will say Michael Conlon, Zhu Can, Mauricio Lara, Josh Warrington. That's solid, man. That is solid. Oh, hello. Listen to this one. Listen to this one. Eddie Hearn has declared, I think he spoke to MMA Fighting, that his understanding is that the Saudis want to make Francis Ngannou versus Derek Chisora on their planned show in December, headlined by Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk and Joshua versus Wilder. Imagine that was all one card. Bollocks, that ain't happening. All one card, no chance. No chance. I mean, take my fucking money now. That's like, imagine that card. AJ Wilder, Fury, Usyk, and Ngannou Chisora. Yeah, take my money. I don't need to take money. I'll be there. Peace.